Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the It Girl Mindset. Today's episode, we're diving into the exact mental formula to become absolutely unstoppable. You know, this is the It Girl Mindset. We dive into behavior loops and identity and everything in between. And something that I don't think we talk about enough on here is the duality between pushing yourself and putting in the work and also being wildly optimistic. There's a very fine line between the two. If you lean too far into your journey, whatever it is, whether you want more money, starting a side business, reaching your dream body, if you lean too hard into the wildly optimistic side, when roadblocks come up, it can be really hard to move through them. And then there's the other side where if you're constantly doing the hard work, always searching for the roadblocks and the things that could go wrong, you're not going to enjoy your journey very much. I think there is this balance and duality between doing hard things but being wildly optimistic and believing in yourself, because you know I'm all about the mindset, but also there's this acceptance of knowing that not every single day is going to be easy, and knowing that you're the kind of person that can trust yourself to move through these obstacles. So we're diving into the nitty-gritty details of the duality between the two and how to really balance them out. So let's go ahead and get into it. Welcome to the It Girl Mindset, where I help you step into the next level version of yourself by mastering your mindset, manifesting your deepest desires, and connecting deeply with your body. It's about becoming the most authentic, radiant, unapologetic, and unbothered version of yourself. Together, we're going to chat about how to unlock your true potential and create a life that feels as good as it looks. If you're ready to become the healthiest, hottest, and most abundant version of yourself, you're in the perfect place. Let's get into it. So I feel like a lot of mindset and personal development can really fail because it's all sunshine and rainbows, and, you know, all you have to do is believe and think and everything will be all sunshine, right? Or it's all grit, where it's like Alex Hormozy, work hard, grind all day, every day. And I'm going to be honest, it's so much more fun to be in the sunshine and rainbows, always believing that everything is possible. And I still believe you need to be in that world, but you also need to recognize the other side, that there is action and hard work that comes from reaching your goals. I've talked about this a lot on here, but a couple years ago, I was in this healing phase where all I was doing was healing. And I felt like I was fed this belief that all you have to do is change your mindset and then everything will be fixed, right? And then I got stuck in this cycle of like, okay, cool, I'm doing the healing. Why isn't anything changing? But it's because I wasn't actually putting in the work that it takes to have the things that I want. Yes, I was doing the internal work, but internal work without external action, you're going to feel better, right? But you're probably not going to get closer to your goals, right? And there, of course, is caveats. There's always caveats. Like sometimes you can, again, do some mindset work and some manifestation and things just flow really easily. But typically when things flow really easily, it's because you're in alignment. And alignment isn't zero work. Alignment is putting in the work in a way that's authentic to you and it feels easy because it's in alignment, right? Even for me right now, I'm locking in on the gym. I have been, ever since I got back from Hawaii, I've just been locking in. And honestly, the last couple years, I've been in this headspace of, my body's fine. You know, I don't necessarily need to put in the work to work out more. You know, I go for walks, I do the things, and my body, I still have abs, so whatever. And I had this moment where I was like, I don't want to be average fit. I want to be top 1% version of myself fit. And so instead of being like, okay, I just have to try to get to the gym, I set a standard for myself that was like, nope, every morning of the week, I'm moving my body. I'm going to the gym. I'm committing to 4 days of workouts every single week. And when you shift and tell yourself that without the ability to negotiate with yourself of, I know I'm going to the gym 4 days a week, period. You shift at an identity level, right? We've gone through the behavior loop, so I'm not going to go into every single phase, but when you shift at an identity level, the action becomes easier, right? When I was in Hawaii, I kind of had this pivot that was like, yeah, I don't want to be average fit. I want to be fit, like top 1%, best shape of my life fit. And when you commit to that in your head, that's half of it, right? Then you have to follow up with the action and the execution and the evidence. So now it's been a couple weeks since I've been back from Hawaii, and I have committed to 4 days a week, and I've been showing up. There are some days that I don't want to, but because at an identity level, I was like, okay, I know that to get to where I want to go, I have to put in the work, right? So instead of giving myself an out, I decided I was just going to do it. Okay? Even if I didn't feel like it, even if I didn't want to. The mindset of knowing that there may be tough days is imperative that you have that conversation with yourself, because then you know what's coming, right? If you're expecting it to be sunshine and rainbows the whole entire time, when a difficult challenge comes up or a roadblock, or you don't feel like doing something because you're tired or something came up, XYZ, you're giving yourself the out. You're like, oh my gosh, this was so unexpected. I didn't realize this was going to be so hard. I'm just going to default back to my past identity. Your brain is always going to default to what's familiar. That's why doing self-concept and identity work is imperative and so important, because our brain likes to be efficient, right? And what's more efficient and easier is to do the same thing that you used to do. That's why doing subconscious reprogramming and identity work is so important, but also showing up, putting in the work to be that version of you. Full transparency, I think I've had moments in the last couple of years where I didn't have this toughness pre-frame of there's going to be hard things. It's like, oh, alignment is alignment, and every day is going to be perfect, and it's going to be sunshine and rainbows. And a lot of days are sunshine and rainbows and fun and alignment and peace and amazing. But there's also days that are hard, are challenging. I don't want to do things. I don't want to show up and film. That rarely happens on my podcast, I will say, but I film for my other job too. And if you go into it knowing, explaining to your brain that, look, there's going to be some hard things that are going to come up, but I trust myself, okay? I trust me. I know that no matter what, if there's a roadblock or not, I'm going to make it through. When you mentally pre-frame that the road may be challenging and there may be roadblocks that come up, nothing can surprise you, right? Because in the mindset world, a lot of times people just say, just believe and everything's going to feel easy. And that's just not the case. You have to understand that there is this grit that comes behind reaching your goals, whether that's financial, whether that is reaching your dream body, losing weight, right? Being the most successful version of you. There is this mental toughness that has to come into play. But it's this self-fulfilling prophecy of doing the mindset, doing the inner healing and deep work is going to help you build a resilient mindset. Having a resilient mindset is proving evidence that you can do hard things, and it's going to reinforce that belief, right? With this mental toughness, knowing that hard things may come up, the benefit of this is you can plan for it, right? And again, we don't want the mindset of like, oh my gosh, what's going to go wrong? What's going to go wrong? But when we tell ourselves, okay, hard things may come up, but I trust myself to get through it, you can almost mentally rehearse it. Your brain will actually perform better under pressure when you have already mentally rehearsed it, right? Because if we're only mentally rehearsing all of the good things and all the amazing things and when things are going right and how good it's going to feel at the gym, right? That's one side of it. But if you mentally rehearse yourself waking up, not wanting to go to the gym, but going anyways, that is training your brain to be resilient. That's training yourself to know that when things come up and roadblocks, whatever it may be, you will actually get through to it. I want to say it was like Michael Phelps or something. Maybe it was a TikTok, maybe it was a YouTube video or something like that. But Michael Phelps, the swimmer, Olympic swimmer, he rehearsed himself winning, of course, but he also rehearsed himself if something went wrong, what would he do? If he didn't win, what would he do? When you are, again, training your brain for all of these different options, nothing surprises you and you know exactly what you're going to do to move through it. And that's why even in this identity shift, right? Yes, I decided I was going to go to the gym, but I also understood too that some days I wasn't going to want to, but I was going to do it anyways. Even just telling yourself and pre-framing that mental toughness to your brain is incredibly powerful. And again, instead of thinking, oh my gosh, hard things are going to come up and it's going to suck, I want you to reframe it as obstacles are data. They're not failure, and they're just proof that you're in the game. You're doing the thing. You're one step closer to actually reaching your goal and living your dream life. Okay, now we're going to flip to the other side, and I like to call this strategic delusion. And this is where we get unreasonably optimistic on purpose. So again, visualization activates the same neural pathways as actually doing the thing. Studies show, I always use this example, but it's so powerful, and every time I say it, it still blows my mind. So there was a study done on bicep curls and muscle growth. They had 3 groups. One group did bicep curls with a weight. One did not do any bicep curls at all with no weight. And then the third group visualized themselves doing bicep curls, but didn't actually use a weight or do the action. Okay. Of course, the one that used weights doing a bicep curl gained muscle, the most muscle of all 3 groups. Group that did not do any bicep curls did not gain any muscle. The third and most surprising, which again still blows my mind, is the group that just visualized themselves doing bicep curls, not even holding a weight or doing it with no weight, just strictly visualize in their mind, gained muscle. That just shows you visualization is so insanely powerful, okay? The brain doesn't know the difference between vividly imagined and real life. It doesn't know the difference. That's why subconscious reprogramming and hypnosis is so powerful, because you're training your brain, right? And so that's why we want that strategic delusion, right? We want that mental toughness and preparedness, but we also want that strategic delusion. Optimism alone can be a bit fragile. One challenging moment that doesn't align with what you thought would happen can kind of make you crumble, right? And I know myself, I've done this a million times, right? I've been in that optimism, delulu, and there's nothing wrong with the delulu, but it's when you don't prep yourself mentally for hard things, right? And then resilience alone, where you're just looking for roadblocks, you're just thinking about how hard it's going to be, that's going to put you in survival mode, right? You're just grinding to get there. You're grinding to just make ends meet, right? And that is a limiting belief in itself, where it's like, I have to work hard for what I want. Together, they really create something different. You become unshakable, where nothing can rock you, and also magnetic, because you have that optimism, that true magnetic ability to magnetize opportunities to you. Okay? Do you see how both of these in itself can be incredibly challenging? They each have their own challenges, but together, strategic delusion and mental toughness, together, that is extremely powerful. And that's why I was like, this is the mental formula to become unstoppable. Using both of these to your advantage, because I've had the mental toughness where it was grind, hustle, repeat. I was so dysregulated. Everything was hard. I didn't feel like, if I didn't work hard, I didn't feel like I earned it. And that just makes life altogether really hard and challenging, right? I can do it, but I'm like literally killing myself to get there. Then we've got that delusion. I've also lived in that where I'm like, everything's going to happen the way that it should be and nothing can go wrong, and then something goes wrong and then I crumble. But having these two together, the mental toughness and the optimism is so incredibly powerful. And that's exactly what I do with my clients, right? We're being strategic. You know exactly the blueprint, the plan. You know exactly step by step what you're going to do to make fuck you money, to become your hottest, most magnetic self, right? You know exactly what to do to get there. But also, we're doing that internal work, the balance of the two, brainwashing yourself to believe that you can accomplish anything you want. But we're also visualizing, okay, if something comes up, guess what? You know what to do. You know exactly what to do because you've built trust with yourself, right? You've also visualized yourself doing the hard things on days when you don't feel like it. And guess what? I'm going to be honest. Alignment, there's going to be so many more easy days than challenging ones, right? But you know if something comes up, you know exactly what to do because you trust yourself. And you've prepared mentally that if an obstacle comes up, it's a learning opportunity. Cool. No problems, just solutions. I saw that on a TikTok the other day and I was like, oof, that's good. It was like this girl in like this, I don't even know what her name is, but she was like in this suit in her office and it was literally just like, no problems, just solutions. It's kind of cheesy, but also real, right? It's like when you train yourself to understand and know and trust that if obstacles come up, I know what to do. I think there's nothing more powerful than that. And that's why, again, the goal is unshakable and magnetic. The power of both of these is insane. Like, you'll become unstoppable. And I'm so glad that I had to learn this the very hard way multiple times in my life to truly understand it. So I hope you guys can skip both of those, right? I always want to be real on here. You know, the internal healing is so important and so powerful, and the deep work in understanding why you are the way that you are, why your coding is the way that it is, right? Even for money, right? It's like, what are your beliefs about money and how is that impacting how you're actually showing up? If a small blip roadblock comes up with saving for a house or with your side business, guess what? You know you can trust yourself because you've done that deep internal work. And you've mentally rehearsed that you can get through anything. Life is literally always up and down. Always, always, always. And again, even talking about identity, right? That root, you know, in the behavior loop, we've got identity, beliefs, nervous system, emotions, and then behavior. And then behavior reinforces that identity. If we embed in our identity, again, that we are someone who fixes things, we are someone who looks at roadblocks as learning opportunities. Do you know how much easier it's going to be to actually get through that? Instead of the victim, why me? Oh my gosh, why is this happening to me? Everybody else thinks it looks so easy. And that's another piece I want to say. And I've struggled with this so much on and off. When you are building something, whether that's your body, a business, you know, financial abundance, when you're building these and you go on social media, it is so easy to look at everything that they're saying and be like, wow, it's so easy for them. Why is it so easy for them, right? Because all we see is the highlight reel. We have no idea what things look like behind closed doors. Zero idea. But I just wanted to call that out because it's so easy to think that everything's easy for other people. So that's why we're staying in our own lane, UVU, okay? Okay, so the last couple of things I want to just mention is the journey being a bit challenging doesn't mean anything's wrong. That's literally a part of everybody's journey. Whether it looks like it on social media or not, sometimes there's parts in your journey that are going to be hard, period. But when you do that inner work, you visualize, you mentally rehearse, you do subconscious reprogramming, you heal your shadows, you do the deep work to become the woman who truly trusts herself, hard doesn't faze you. And again, it's not going to be hard every day, but you have mentally prepared yourself so that you don't crumble under pressure, right? And if you are in either one of these, where you are fighting for your life, just pushing as hard as you possibly can, grinding every day, or you're in the all delulu phase, and whenever a roadblock comes up, you kind of crumble and feel like you need to start over, just know that all you need to do is upgrade your identity, upgrade your beliefs, and do that deep work to become exactly who you know you're meant to be. The duality of both of these, it's not choosing between grinding or dreaming, right? It's about having both, understanding that you can be in Delulu land and also have resilience, right? It's that combination of both that's going to make you so incredibly powerful. And I know you can do it, okay? I know you can do it. It's just about finding that balance. Just some final key takeaways and things that you can start working on right now. Just look at your beliefs about whatever it is that your goal is. If you are wanting to make more money, what are your beliefs about making money? Do you feel like you have to work hard to make money? Or do you believe that making money is easy? Making money is simple? If you have a body goal, do you believe that losing weight is hard? Do you believe that going to the gym is always a struggle? Do you believe you're someone that shows up consistently? If you're building a business or you want to raise, whatever it may be, look at your beliefs, okay? That's where I want you to start, because your beliefs are going to tell you a lot about who you believe that you are, which is your identity. Next, I want you to visualize yourself reaching the goal, but I also want you to visualize roadblocks coming up and how you actually handle them. Just mentally prepare yourself so you know and trust that you can handle these things that come up. Okay, my loves, I hope this episode helped you really understand the power of having both, okay? Not one or the other. And it's really, that masculine and feminine energy that we talk about a lot. But whatever your goal is, I know you can get there. So visualize yourself, regulate your nervous system, do the internal work, okay? And if you want help getting there, I have a couple spots open in the code where we will dig deep and do the deep work that you're afraid to look at. I do only have limited spots. So if you are ready to increase your wealth, you are ready to have your dream body and become the woman who shows up and stays consistent and becomes the most successful version of herself. Again, we're doing the deep work though, okay? We're doing that deep work to reinvent yourself, okay? If you want to apply to the code, the link is down in the show notes below. What will happen after you apply, I will just go ahead and if I feel like you're a fit, I'll go ahead and reach out and we'll get signed up with a consultation call and just go from there and make sure that you're a good fit for the program, okay? Very simple. The application takes like 2 minutes. I can't wait to read through your applications. Okay, my loves. That wraps up this episode. Thank you so much for being here. I truly love podcasting more than you know. And if you would share this with a friend who you feel like needs to hear this, share it on your story and tag me at Ashley Robots with your biggest takeaway. That would mean the absolute world. Really helps the show grow. And again, this is just my passion. I absolutely love doing it. So I loved being in your ear or on your screen. Can't wait to see you in the next episode.